Welcome to the IHFF India edition of the Stack Supplement Podcast, where we run down all the top stories and exciting announcements shared on our website from the past 7 days. Now, I did say I was going to attempt to record this episode in the regular office, but schedules just didn't happen as things do. But I am here in New Delhi for the IHFF show taking place this weekend. We'll be sharing a few things from the show, just getting a good overall glimpse of the market, as well as what a show like this is looks like. We've never actually been to any supplement show outside of North America or Europe. We've done plenty in those regions and a couple in Australia, but this would be the first outside of those, and it's lining up to be pretty big. There's a lot of domestic brands here. It is not just a sport nutrition show. They do have gyms and equipment and stuff like that. And there are internationals here as well, I believe. There are a few. I think Rise is one of the ones that has some representation with the distributor Muscle and Strength. Killer Labs is on that under that same banner as well. But we'll be checking it all out this weekend. And keeping with the admin part of the Stack Supplement Podcast, I'll talk about the big competition that has started off this week. That is none other than Clash of the Cans. The 6th annual Energy Drink Showdown has commenced. The first round is online now. We've already, I think, I'm recording this a little later. What would this be? Wednesday morning, Tuesday night, something like that. The votes are already surpassed the opening round of last year's and the year before, so huge turnout there. And it's shaping up to be a big one. It is the opening round for the Clash of the Cans. For those who haven't been around when we've done it in the past, basically we get every energy drink that's been featured on Stacked. We ask you to vote. The process is very simple. You go to clashofthecans.com or stack.com/clash-cans. Can't remember the exact URL. Clashofthecans.com is the easy way to go. And you just pick an energy drink from the list, click submit, that's it. You get to vote once per week. And the top 16 from the opening round go through to round 2, or what we can call the quarterfinals, where we split them up into 4 groups of 4. And the winner, the one with the most votes from each of those groups, goes to the semifinals, 2 groups of 2, and then the winners of each of those progress to the grand final and see if we have a returning champion, another 2-time champion, an all new one. We've had pretty solid competitors over the years, and some big names have won. C4 was our very first. Rain Total Body Fuel took out the second year. Raise Energy then went back-to-back, winning the title, and Rise Fuel is the most recent winner of the trophy. And so, it's online now, and anytime you have just a few seconds to vote, just go over there and check which one you want like the most. If their favorite isn't on the list, just go down to the bottom. There is a box, or a manual box we call it, where you can enter your preferred energy drink. It's just a nice way to open it up to competitors that we may not have heard of or may not have come across, but I believe the list stands at like somewhere between 100 and 150 this year, which is a huge leap and a reflection of how fast-paced the category is. Getting straight into the news of the week. We're going to kick things off with the details coming out of Beam. Beam is a premium lifestyle supplement company. They've been around for a while, and they have done an authentic collaboration. They've done, I think it's 2. They did a Sunny D one. They did a Dole, cannot remember the name of it. Basically partnered with a fresh food company, Dole, and they're getting back together with that same company. They announced this past week that they're doing 2 more authentic collaborations with Dole, but these are not going to be, I guess, standard or straightforward as much as the first one was. They are actually specifically partnering with Dole Whip, which is its pretty much internationally known, famous whipped dessert, really, sort of like an ice cream. It's been around for a while, and it is that format and flavors of that treat that that Beam is attempting to turn into flavors of 2 of its supplements. And interestingly, they're not both protein powders. Obviously, an ice cream or like a creamy dessert would go fitting with protein powder due to the texture and the traditional taste that you get with it, but that's not the case. One of them is for Beam's protein powder, specifically the vegan protein powder, And that flavor is Dole Whip pineapple. No, sorry, let me correct that. Dole Whip pineapple is the one for the bean pre-workout. The one for the vegan protein is Dole Whip strawberry. But both inspired in, I guess, looking to replicate that Dole Whip texture, sweetness, consistency, however you want to describe it. So basically an ice cream experience, which I think is pretty interesting and a pretty cool twist to do it in the second collaboration. They haven't really stuck to anything traditional here. Actually, the first one, I actually might have it written down here. Orange Peach Mango was the first one they did, and it was for the Super Greens. But it wasn't like that Dole Whip, it just was the name attached to it, so it made you sort of think it was just going to be a fresh mix of orange, peach, and mango. Here we've got Dole Whip strawberry and, what's the other one? I almost forgot it. I said about 2 seconds ago. Pineapple. So two very familiar sweet taste, strawberry and pineapple, but in the idea that they're going to have a more ice creamy smoothness or texture. I don't know. Tell you what, protein makes sense if they actually make their pre-workout thick for this purpose of this whole Dole Whip collaboration. That'd be pretty awesome. So yeah, check that out on the site as per usual. From there we go over to Desperado from Apollon Nutrition. This was a big one. This was one that was highly anticipated. And this is the reveal of Apollon Nutrition's daily driver pre-workout or everyday value-focused pre-workout. We've seen many brands do something like this where they take a more cost-effective approach to the fast-paced pre-workout category. Raw Nutrition famously did it. Caged is no stranger to that sort of thing. C4 was one of the earlier names when they did C4 Sport. And yeah, Desperado is the name of Apollo Nutrition's more cost-effective pre-workout. And I will say, consider it more cost-effective because it is still reasonably priced. It's $44.99, which is the price of Ghost Legend and many other more mainstream supplements out there. But consider this a cost-effective version for Apollon. This is very similar to how a premium pre-workout isn't necessarily $60, $70. A brand that already sells a supplement at $30, if they did a $45, that would be their premium offering. If their regular pre-workout was $25 and they did a cost-effective one, it would theoretically be around $15. So yeah, it depends on the brand, but $44.99 is the price of Desperado, and the formula they jammed into this one is damn impressive. Even though you get that better overall price for an Apollon pre-workout, as none of their other pre-workouts go under the 50. I think it's 55 to 65, and some of them even go beyond that. They haven't held back. Apollon has made sure that you know it's an Apollon supplement, if that makes sense. I'm going to rattle off the highlights, and they are nothing to scoff at. You've got 8 grams of straight citrulline, and then 3 grams of arginine nitrate, NO3T arginine nitrate, 2.5 grams of betaine, all that for a solid pump side. Then you get 3.2 grams of beta-alanine. Then the rest is for a high-powered energy and focus, with 2 grams of tyrosine, theobromine, acetylcholine, dicaffeine malate, and caffeine anhydrous. Now, interestingly, those 2 caffeine sources don't combine for that typical high-powered dose of caffeine that we usually see from Apollon. It's kept at set 350 milligrams, 75 from the dicaffeine to 75 from the caffeine anhydrous. So I think that's pretty interesting for 2 reasons. One, this is a daily driver cost-effective pre-workout, and it wouldn't have been too difficult for Apollon to keep the caffeine high. It's not remotely even close to being an expensive ingredient, caffeine, but I like how Apollon chose here to lower it. The price point of the supplement is geared more towards the cost-effective audience. It is geared towards a more value-focused market, and like in hand, not your average Joe isn't gonna be familiar with 600 milligrams of caffeine, which is what you get in Assassin and Hooligan, Apollon's other premier pre-workouts. And that continues into some of their special editions, and they have got Lionheart, which isn't as high, but I like that they tamed down the caffeine content. While giving it a good price, they also made sure the caffeine was more acceptable at that broader range, which is what a cost-effective pre-workout does. It opens someone up to a bigger market by being more achievable, more cost-effective, basically. Not everyone has $45 to $60 to throw down on a pre-workout, especially when all these premium ones drop to the 20 servings. you spend 30 servings for $30 and then you spend 45 for 20 servings, that's not a $15 difference. That is significantly more than that. So I like what they did there. And the supplement's rolling out. It launched at the end of last week. They revealed the formula on the Monday. So you can now get your hands on it. It's available straight from Pollen's online store, as well as its many reliable retailers. And it does come in 3 flavors, interestingly. And I thought this was pretty cool. They snuck in a collaboration. So the 3 flavors are blue raspberry lemonade, which is sort of a typical taste, peach orange, and then the other one is mango raspberry, which is in partnership with MMA fighter Luke Fernandez, and it's got his face and everything on it, so it's a pretty cool partnership there. Moving on down the list, we have Bucked Up making headlines with a pretty interesting spin on a category it was already in. So the Buck Shot was an energy shot that came to market many years ago, and Bucked Up did an incredible job at making this thing stand out because it wasn't just your traditional energy shot. They brought together a variety of ingredients, which tends to be what sports nutrition brands do. They like to mix things up, make it more advanced, get you more than what you're used to in familiar categories like energy shot. So Buckshot brought together energy-focused components that you wouldn't typically find in a shot. But the most interesting thing was it put it in a shotgun shell-like bottle, which I thought was very, very cool, very, very interesting. A nice change of pace for the energy shot market where, I mean, who doesn't want to have an energy shot out of a shotgun shell? And now they've done what's called the golf shot. Now this is, as you can imagine, it is geared towards golfers. It's more of a golf marketed product. In fact, it comes in that same shotgun shell, but instead of like a black wrapper below the top part of the shell, you have a golf ball pattern, with all the dimples and everything. And on the inside, the formula is exactly the same except for the caffeine, which I thought this was pretty cool to see. They could have just rebranded it and done what they did, done what a lot of other brands did, but they switched it up and actually made it more specific for the golfing market. So it does feel very much like a product designed specifically for golfers. So again, you get all of the energy, all of the focus ingredients from the regular Buck Shot, but the caffeine has been halved to 100 milligrams, which is, again, very cool, very specific, very nice and fitting for, I guess, the sport of golf, as it's not as intense or high-powered as, I guess, a heavy workout or intense exercise in the gym, at least in terms of longevity and exercise. But that one is out now, and it does come in 4 different flavors. So 4 flavors that aren't the same as what you get on regular Buckshot, and they are themed around, rightfully so, golf. There is Birdie Blast, Gimme Grape, Par Punch, and Orange Slice. From there, we're going to jump on down to MHP, one of the longest running sports nutrition brands out there. Again, been around for many, many years, long before, in fact, it was one of the first brands we shared that was on the list of having news shared when Stack started. And on that list was a water loss supplement by the name of Expel. Now, if you've ever tried or dabbled in natural diuretic water loss supplements, Expel is arguably one of the greatest. There are countless times I've brought it up with brands, owners of supplement companies, and not to say that this is that big, the water loss category isn't that huge, but if Gold Standard is the king protein powder, and I guess C4 has its stamp on pre-workouts, Expel is as synonymous with the diuretic or natural water loss category. It's been around for many, many years. It's incredibly effective. It gets the job done. It drops water loss. It drops the body's amount of water that it holds. It gives you a very nice lean look within days. And so each bottle comes with 10 days supply. And you pretty much start seeing results within about 3 days, sometimes sooner or later, but then it peaks around the 5-day mark, and then the 10 days get you in. It's a nice little product for, I guess, a holiday or a wedding or an event, stuff like that. So general everyday fitness, weight loss goals. Now, the one catch with the supplement, and it's not really that big of a deal, but I think it must have been, I've always thought this, that it does come with caffeine. And for me, when on the occasions that I've had it throughout the years, the few occasions, the caffeine is is applicable when I prefer my pre-workouts, as would most people. But if you have 75 milligrams of caffeine twice a day added in, it does take away from your total. If you max it out at 350 per day, you've now got to drop that to 200 just because you get an intake elsewhere. Not everyone's that, I guess, finicky or detailed, but there will be people out there that this means a lot. MHP has now come out with a caffeine-free version. So very much like I said, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. It had crossed my mind, but clearly MHP has been asked enough that they've finally come out with a caffeine-free Expel. It's exactly the same formula, so you can expect all of the same results minus the energy you get from the 75 milligrams of caffeine or 150 across the day. Everything else, again, is exactly the same. The dosages, the ingredients, the price, the amount of servings. You take it as per normal, 10 days, 2 servings a day, and it will work its magic. So very cool little twist. And again, something I had always thought. I was very happy to see that MHP went into the trenches and did this one for fans. We're going to finish off with three stories. The latest is actually from Unmatched Supplements, who has surprised us quite a bit over the last few days. Right when we thought they were going to be doing 3 supplements and call it a day, that was BH2K, Dissident, and Electro Shred. They came out and revealed 2 more supplements and 2 standalones. So we've got all the details over on the site. You shoot over there. We've been breaking down every Unmatched supplement as soon as the information came out. But Unmatched revealed, what was the other one? I'm trying to remember exactly. Longevity EAA, which is an anti-aging or cellular health amino supplement. Very interesting twist on an amino cocktail. A nice, easy way to work in an additional benefit. And interestingly, they add anti-aging, which is not a category or feature that brands tend to attempt to cover in sports nutrition supplements. Usually they're dedicated anti-aging supplements, or they've got anti-aging ingredients worked into multivitamins or even superfoods, not your workout window supplements, which is what you've got with Longevity EAA. Then there was the reveal of Isolate and the 2 standalone supplements. One is called Immuno IgG, which I believe, I don't know the exact description. I think when we saw it, I wrote in the story, my guess was a colostrum supplement. It seemed very fitting. The name, thing screamed to me, and I remember seeing it at some point. I'm not exactly sure what it is precisely. I think they would have revealed it by the time this podcast goes live, and you can get exactly what it is. But the other one is the more interesting one, and that is the creatine. Now, this is the GA18, creatine monohydrate with guana. I'm trying to remember this because I know I butchered it last time. Guanidinoacetic acid. This combination of those 2 ingredients, and it is basically it's promoted to be a superior creatine. And it was Unmatched put it in their BH2K pre-workout as a source of creatine. It was very cool to see them do that. And now you're also going to be able to buy it standalone. You're going to be able to get it and take it bulk like you would a traditional creatine. And that's going to be available at launch alongside the 5 different supplements and the Immuno IgG. And we actually do have a review coming on the creatine soon, because the company that makes it actually does sell a standalone version. You can grab it on Amazon. I think it was $29.99. And I think they had 60 servings. Was it 30 or 60? I think it might have been 60 servings, but they tell you to take it twice a day. I can't remember precisely, but I figured why not give it a shot, see what differences it is. Everything's great on paper, and you can read day in, day out that this does this and this does this. But when you just take things in the gym and you put it to personal use, personal tests, and you actually run it, and you're pushing your limits, pushing the boundaries, you're doing the exercise, you will get to see if it's worth the money or not. It is more expensive than creatine monohydrate. And again, if it does the same, what's the difference? What's the reason to switch? But if it does significantly better, and I mean significantly better in the sense that you start like, oh shit, I'm 20% stronger next week, or whatever it may be. I don't know what I'm expecting, and I know there's a lot of highlights of it, but yeah, it's always worth weighing it up. And I was interested to see, with all of the hype behind this and the brands that have made use of it, why not give it a shot, see what it's like, see if it's as great as it sounds and it's a superior creatine that it's been promoted as. The second to last story we have is actually on a very controversial, I don't know if it's controversial, but Doomsday is a pre-workout from a company called Leviathan Labs. I could only find it available from Predator. I don't know if it's their brand or if it's a house brand or something like that. I couldn't find it anywhere else online. But it's a product that came into market, I think it was last year. It's not that long ago, but it is quite known for, it's promoted for high energy and focus. It's a pre-workout. It doesn't have your big dose ingredients like beta-alanine, citrulline, or creatine, anything like that. Actually, maybe it did. I'm trying to remember if it did have creatine. I think that actually was in there. That's going to bug the shit out of me now. It does have creatine in there, but it doesn't have the big 8 grams, the 5 grams of creatine monohydrate. In fact, the whole blend in this is 5.5, so it's not. I mean, maybe if there is 5 grams of creatine, yeah, it actually might work out. Betaine was in there as well. That's why betaine was the first one. So you would, with betaine and creatine, 2 ingredients that betaine's 2.5, creatine's 5. The blend of this is 5.5. You're not getting the fat dosages. That's neither here or there. The focus on this pre-workout is the stimulant effects, the sensory benefits, and it got a lot of attention, mostly because of how it's been marketed and promoted. And I was tipped on a review that the Review Bros did, the great guys over there. They didn't think much of the original Doomsday. There is now a new version called Doomsday Hardcore, and it has absolutely everything the same bar one ingredient, which I'm not going to pronounce, but it was one of the ingredients that, if you can recall back in the day, one of the famous USB Labs supplements, Oxy Elite, that was in there. Well, this was in there. And so, yeah, that blend has continued in Doomsday Hardcore minus that component, and it gives you a 5.6 gram blend of betaine, creatine monohydrate, cymbidium, cacao extract, caffeine anhydrous, eriodrensis, and Cagellia africana. So it's a pretty intense blend, to say the least, especially if you've got caffeine close to the end. And it looks like it's going to be high energy, high focus. But the way that it's been marketed is that it rivals original Craze and Jacked. Now, that was when Stack started, hence the name, Jacked, Stacked. Stacked with the E was taken, we put the 3 in there just because Jacked was the shit. Now, I know those supplements. We've seen some legendary supplements throughout the years, and Jacked is regarded as one of the most potent, I guess, stimulant supplements of all time, because of what it encouraged, because of what it was, and because of what it created or encouraged everyone else to do. Now, to compare to that, I can tell you right now, of all the supplements that come out over the years, the only times you had supplements that rivaled those was when you came into the DMHA era. We got a bunch of DMHA pre-workouts. There were some that got close, and then you had the AMP citrate era, which was similarly stimulating, but it was a different blend. The energy wasn't as good, but the focus was phenomenal, and the pumps were fantastic. So each of those eras had their thing. Outside of that, I've never seen a pre-workout come close to those to rival that sort of experience. Now, Doomsday Hardcore promised that. Again, Review Bros didn't think the original was overly phenomenal. Either way, I went ahead and bought a few samples of this Doomsday Hardcore. I will be letting you know if it lives up to the hype, if it's as good as it's said to. Again, I haven't. The formula looks pretty straightforward. I read out the blend, 5.6 grams. It's obviously you're not getting the juiced up dosages of some of those. Again, the betaine and creatine aren't going to be 2.5 and 5 grams respectively. But I'm going to give it a shot. I'll let you know if it's as good as it is. The problem is if you rely so much on energy and focus ingredients, the only reason those originals, the Craze and the Jacked, were so legendary is because the energy and focus was so damn good. You didn't necessarily need to have the performance and pump components, and at least it wasn't as noticeable when they weren't there. If this doesn't hit like that did, it's going to be a sad day at the office because there isn't much else in there to really drive a loaded pre-workout experience. And we'll tell you how it is. We'll let you know how it is. I'm intrigued to see. I think we bought 5 samples, which should be enough. If it's as insane as Jacked let you know how good it was in the first serving. So I'll let you know how good it is and see how it measures up. But the last story we have was a dynamite one, and it comes from Prime. It's been the biggest story on the website. A lot of people interested in this one. It is the new flavor of Prime hydration drink called Prime X, or just X. Now, this is arguably the most involved and intricate flavor Prime has done for several reasons. It's realistically a mix of the competitions that we saw when they did their Fortnite thing, the value of what we saw in their gold editions, and then some exclusive stuff that we saw with Glowberry. So basically, Prime X, that we've got a little bit more information because initially it was a little bit vague. But basically, Prime X is a special edition flavor. It's strawberry lemonade. It is, from what we understand, the same flavor that's in Erling Haaland's signature flavor, which was launched in the UK last month. Now, it comes in pink and blue, or basically magenta cyan bottles. They have the same design, their accent's a little different. And then there are 2 holographic versions, very similar to how you can get the Glowberry and regular, and then holographic designs. They all feature the same flavor. From what I understand, I haven't been told different. I remember I saw someone from Prime saying 4 versions, 1 flavor, and on the same formula as well of electrolytes as you get in all the other flavors of the Prime hydration drink. Now, where this takes a very, very interesting turn is that on the bottle there is a QR code. You scan the QR code, you get a map piece. Now, the way it works is you need 12 map pieces. So I think that when you scan the code, so when you scan the QR code, you aren't necessarily guaranteed to get the right map piece, but you need 12. So I think it might be randomized. I'm not sure how it works, but you need 12 map pieces, 12 different ones, and they collect together to make, obviously, a map. You do need to keep the lids for proof, I guess, of the bottles. Then when that map is complete, it will help you find X marked the spot. Now, if you can find this X, it is basically, true to this word, it is a treasure map, and you are in with the chance, or you win $1 million cash. So it is as cool as the exclusives, the different versions of the holographics and the different labels, and the fact that it's a fun new flavor. This whole map thing is going to send people crazy. I wouldn't be so. I don't really know how it works if you have to buy and then scan, or you don't see the QR code. Either way, it's going to have people hunting down, at the very minimum, 12 bottles to get the map. I wouldn't be surprised, knowing how diehard fans are, I wouldn't be surprised if people find it day one. That would make complete sense. There are people out there who will go down and find all 12, buy 100 to 200 bottles, and crack it and figure it out to win $1 million. That's not surprising. More interestingly, it is actually available worldwide. So they are launching this Prime X in the US, Canada, the UK, and Australia. I don't know, as far as I know, it is $1 million singular prize. I don't think it's a prize for different markets. It might be, I don't really know. But if it is one prize, it'll be interesting to see how X can equal the same spot to everyone. Or more importantly, if it's separated out, that would make more sense. So $1 million for the UK, $1 million Australia. There are a lot of details, a lot of questions, but I'm sure that once the thing gets rolling, people will figure it out. But yeah, that is a hugely, hugely popular story, a feature that's been on Stack for the last week. The flavor itself launches tomorrow. So Tuesday night? Yep, tomorrow, I believe, is when the whole thing rolls out. You'll be able to catch it all. primex.drinkprime.com, I believe, is the website. And yeah, it's going to be a big one. If you're a fan of the drink, or even if you're just interested in the $1 million cash prize. That does it for this episode. All the stories you can check out on stack.com, which we hope you are visiting every single day, multiple times a day. That's all we ask for the service we provide, to keep you updated on everything from the sports supplement world, energy drinks, and functional food. Be sure to share the website with your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your friends, family, everybody that's not included in that group. And I look forward to having you back next time. Thank you for listening.